Someone asking what the artist name is. Jonas Wood. W-O-O-D is his name. Jonathan in seat 4 is in for just under 30K, so he's down about 9K. Nick's in for 40. He's up 7. Little Antonio, SoFlo Antonio in the 6th seat. He is in for 20K. He's down 11. Armenia Mike's in for 10K. He doubled up early against Phil Hellmuth. He is up 8,000. Phil Hellmuth is in for his original 10K. He's up 17.5. And Randall's in for 45K, so he is down about $17,000.
You know, I had the opportunity to play against Phil for about 8 hours on a Poker Night in America stream, which I think might actually be on TV right now. And it's fun to play with him, but he certainly does kind of play, I would say, a little bit of a passive game unless you get him on tilt post-flop. I don't know if that's how he's been playing
today.
For
sure. He's been limping and limp calling. He limp called 3 ways with kings one hand. You know, and you can just look at his stats, 36, VPIP PFR.
Yeah.
Very similar to Francisco. Francisco 33.9, Phil 36. Francisco has that style too where he's limping a lot pre-flop, limp raising.
And I think that he just limp. We didn't have a straddle, right? Or have we been playing straddles here? Because it looks like he might have just limp re-raised here.
Who, Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Francisco just limp raised. Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Okay.
And
so he's using that kind of ace blocker, ace-6 suited. Antonio's got a legitimate hand here in the big blind. He had just called, but Hellmuth.
Everybody knows it. Even you know it.
I think Antonio's more likely to call here than Phil. Phil likes to make big folds.
So I'm gonna fold.
Well, there it is.
But Antonio,
Picture this mess that you've got me into here. I gotta
Antonio has gotten owned by Francisco all day. He's just lost massive pots to Francisco time and time again, and he wants to beat him in a pot really bad here. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that Antonio calls. They're deep. They're the 2 deepest stacks of the table. Antonio wants to beat him in a big pot, and he does outflop him. Top pair here for Antonio.
I'm not sure Francisco had expected to be called.
Francisco loves the spotlight, so you know he loves being in that spot where he gets to limp raise against Phil Hellmuth and Antonio Esfandiari. Like he loves being in this game and being able to show off against these guys.
That looks like a big bet, Ryan. 48 here. I mean, they are deep, so just over half the pot. Obviously, Antonio's not going anywhere here. Probably just a standard, just check call.
Here's the interesting thing is that every single time that Antonio's been hoping that Francisco just wouldn't have it, Francisco's just had like the stone nuts. He's had a super nutted hand every time. And so Antonio is very worried here, for sure. Like, he's not fist pumping this spot. When you get limp raised under the gun and you flop top pair, it's not the easiest spot. Francisco could easily just rep aces or kings here.
Well, he's picked up some backdoor equity here. He's got a gutter to 4. Just a quick check. River's a 6, and that might actually shut down all the action unless Antonio somehow thinks he needs to turn his hand into a bluff, which he probably doesn't.
No, I think he can just bet for value here. I mean, it is a 4-liner.
Bet for value in a limp 3-bet pot, in a limp 3-raise.
I guess it depends what type of spot what type of hand he thinks Francisco has when he limp raises.
15,400.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a bluff or value bet here.
Dude, I mean, I would think on the surface without knowing the history that this would almost be a bet as a bluff, but then from what you said too, he sort of has a strong hand. There's no way Francisco is, you know, is he going to check back turn with aces and kings and fold now?
No.
Is Antonio ever going to get called by a worse hand here?
Yeah, I don't really know. I would guess that Antonio is value betting here, but it looks like a little bit too big to be a value bet against a limp raise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, me personally, like knowing Francisco, knowing the type of hands that I've seen him limp raise with sometimes, he's very tough to play against. He makes a lot of crazy plays.
How much?
I would value bet this spot against Francisco. But if Antonio doesn't know Francisco and hasn't seen him limp raise, and if he thinks that he's only limp raising with really strong hands,
and he gets called and he turns it over like it is a value bet, so there you go.
Wow.
People in the chat saying that he would never check back the turn with an overpair, and that very well might be the case where just king queen is the nuts there, but I wouldn't think he would take that sizing.
That is poker, my friends.
What a great bet,
Antonio.
You know, it might be one of those spots too, Ryan, where Antonio's making it look like he has a stronger hand than he does. Like he's making it look like he's polarized and
Right.
just trying to get called.
What do they call that? There's a word for that.
Polarized.
Well, I'm saying it's like a merge, right? You're like making your hand look polarized when you really have like a more like middling hand, and then you get called by worse.
He might just think that that Francisco might just think that he has a 4 or nothing.
Yeah.
He called with a 6,
Right.
which is like the same thing as ace high.
And Francisco knows Antonio's not gonna have a 4 there, so he calls, and he happens to have
Like you hit a 9.
the best hand. So what a bet by Antonio Esfandiari. That is why he's a professional.
That's also knowing your players too, because that's
Yeah.
not going to be a bet that you're going to make against somebody else.
Right, exactly. Like Armenian Mike's not calling with worse there.
No, I mean, in Mike, you might just check fold the flop.
Yeah. So what a great bet though by Antonio Esfandiari. It was a value bet. By the way, he turned his hand over. I'm pretty sure that was a value bet. And Francisco pays it off with worse, so Antonio was right. What a play. $49,000 pot. That's the biggest pot we've had tonight.
You can also see it too, the way that he turned his hand over.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes kind of people...
They're like,
Yeah, he
but
knew.
when
He knew when he was called. Plus the tank call. I mean, I think if Francisco snap calls, maybe...
I mean, he probably puts Francisco in a hand like jacks when he limp raises. But wow, $49,000 pot, biggest pot we've had tonight. Goes to Antonio. He finally gets Francisco. He's been losing pot after pot against him. Finally gets him for the big one. Antonio was down 43K at one point. He's now only down 7K.
Yeah, he's got a 4 in his
He is back in business.
I would never.
Meanwhile, Francisco is up 23,000 now.
I don't know if you heard that in the background, but
He raised.
Phil was saying, what a bet to Antonio. And Antonio was like, yeah, like I'm worried that he has a 4 in his hand, Phil. So obviously, Phil would not value bet the river there from up front.
I don't know.
From all the time you bluffed Francisco, this time you didn't want to.
I'm just a fixer. I don't know.
What a hand.
Well, I'm just saying. I think it
No,
was a
you're
great
you're
bet.
right. You're right.
It was a sick bet. And to win it.
If I had aces or kings against Antonio, I may have slowed
I'm
down
not
on the
disagreeing
turn.
with that comment.
I would have slowed down on the turn.
I think it was a great bet.
100%.
Yeah, I
I
wasn't
don't want him to
disagreeing
go
with
like
you.
this.
Yeah, of course. If he's
And I
got
wanted
kings
to
or
go
aces,
off.
more power to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
What about all the times he's got jacks, 10s, 9s?
See, there you go.
Well,
It was
You
a
can
great
beat exactly
Okay.
jacks and tens.
yeah, and I'm losing to aces and kings. But
How
I
about
got
ace 6
kings,
suited?
less likely.
Antonio.
I mean, the other question too is that if
Don't let me get out, boys.
Francisco's calling with ace 6
Don't let me
there,
get out.
is he calling with
I
ace
do have to
king?
leave in like 20 minutes.
It can't really be any different, right? in the hand?
Francisco!
Should be,
Antonio
but
to say yes to
maybe in his
lead
mind it
after a
is.
win? No.
Antonio gives a lot of action.
So this is interesting because it's a straddle pot, and I don't know if we've seen. We definitely have people in the lineup that have been limping. So Esfandiari ISOs the limpers with ace 6 offsuit on the button. Have we seen some limping and a lot of ISOing going on here?
You're the only one I'm worried about.
It's been a lot of passive play. Antonio's been driving the action most of the time. There's been a lot of limping and just single raise pots, multi-way pots.
He's flopped the best of it here with a 6. It looks like.
That's 1400.
I don't think he's gonna get any action here though. Nope.
Antonio, does that put you
I
up
mentioned this a
one?
little while ago, but I'll mention it again real quick. So next week, we are branding next week as Scott Blumstein week. So the reigning World Series of Poker main event champion will be here next week. He's going to play all week. He's going to play in the 3K sit and go on Wednesday. He's going to play in the Annie game on Thursday. And he is going to commentate next Friday in the 25-50-100 game. So if you guys want to see and hear the main event champion, make sure you tune in to Live on the Bike next week for Scott Blumstein week. And then he will also be here March 1st and March 2nd for our main event Champions Week. That would be Thursday, March 1st, Friday, March 2nd, a sit and go and a cash game with main event champions only. Scott will be here along with Joe McKean and Johnny Chan and a bunch of other, hopefully Phil Hellmuth and a bunch of other main event champions.
I know. Half the table plays tight.
Maybe I can get an Eagles Patriots bet from Joe McKean, huh? Solicit that bet.
Oh, for sure you can get
Yeah,
that.
I'll have to reach out to him.
Yeah.
Make a huge
He's
vengeance.
gonna go like this.
Big Super Bowl this weekend.
Yeah.
My guys against your guys. But it's tough because, you know, I root for the Patriots for my dad, but now, you know, I gotta
Well, he had to put
make
in
sure
like,
I'm
he had to put in
only rooting for the
5K.
Eagles this weekend. 'cause,
He had to put in 5K with the king.
but it's kind of cool.
Oh, like that's a hard thing
second
to do.
time
I'm
Eagles
like licking
Patriots
my
playing in the
chops
Super
with
Bowl.
King Queen suited for
Check.
5K. Are you kidding me? I'll do it every day, all day.
Tom Brady's like the Phil
You think
Hellmuth
I didn't
of
like it when he raised?
football.
I
You know, he
was
just doesn't slow down.
ecstatic. King queen suited. What else am I waiting for?
So Phil's got top pair here, and he's going to bet with king 5. Francisco, this is a limp pot again. Almost like a bomb pot, Ryan, because there were like 6 people in here.
Oh, by the way, a little while ago we did a whole round of bomb pots, and Antonio got the best of that round. He had never done a bomb pot before, and he won 2 of the first 3 hands.
Big hands, and you had like
It is you right
13 or
there.
14 or 15.
It is to you. You knew that, right?
That's what I remember.
You didn't. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were.
So Francisco's got the ace of spades in his hand, and you wonder if he's going to rep that if the turn comes a spade when Phil leads out here. Phil's almost always got a king here, right? That's almost full pot.
The straddles really are helping me out when I have no hands.
There's a blank. Let's see if Phil goes into that kind of check call shell that we see. Now he's going to bet 18. And yeah, Antonio lets it go.
All right, chat asking for who's up, who's down real quick. Jonas is down 15K. Antonio Esfandiari down only 5K now, making a huge comeback after being down over 40,000. Francisco is up 21K now. He was up 46 before that hand against Antonio.
By the way,
Jonathan
correct me if I'm wrong.
down 6K.
Antonio handles so well. But he had just a little bitter beer face going there for a while, don't you think?
Yeah, he was a little sour.
A little bitter beer
A little
face.
sour.
Like one of those. I'm 40 loser in a game I could never
Antonio.
get out of. I wanted it 8-handed. He had one of those, like, you know, just a little. But you didn't hear him whine out loud. You could just had to look at his face, and you could tell he was sad. You know?
I was sad I had to leave.
Armenia mic's been too loud at the table.
You
He's
had a
just
little
talking too
bitter
much.
beer face. Admit it, Antonio. Just a
Hear too
little
much
bit.
of it.
Every once in a while there'd be a mumble like.
Oh,
Well, he's upset that
playing
Bitcoin
my
was under
I was mad
10,000.
at myself.
Yeah, Armenia mic.
He's got a
I was
Well, we
upset
can't
about
pick on these guys.
half his net
I
worth is
never
gone.
went in my hand.
No. I actually in the chat yesterday,
By the way, everybody's
somebody
against
asked
you, but
me
everybody's against me.
what Armenia
Everybody's
Mike
against
does, and I
everybody,
said he
by the way.
mines pot coin.
Jonathan with black
Yeah, I
queens
like
here.
to win every day.
Open ender.
We've got 2 draws here, Jack 9 and 9-10.
Hard.
Open-ended. And little Antonio's definitely not going anywhere. He's got a backdoor diamond draw. Randall with the gutter to a 10. Looks like he has overcalled as well.
You know, if you paid me 5,000,
Oh, there's the nuts. Little Antonio with
that would
9-10.
have been a more baller move, Antonio.
And Jonathan just instantly bets 2,000 without, you know, just
3K,
an
do I look
insta
like
bet.
a
And that's going to be heavily weighted towards value, I would think, on a board like this versus these 2 guys.
Yeah, Antonio should just be
How would I
shoving
look
here.
at the stream? How would I look at the stream if you offered me 5K? Wolf.
And by the way,
I
Randall's
look at the stream if
open-ended
you
with a
offered me
9. If
5,000
Antonio just
myself?
calls, Randall can actually beat him with a 10.
Well, it
And
depends
he
on the
does
5,000,
just
like,
call.
Wow.
So Randall's in there too, so a 10 could actually give Randall the win here. Here we go to the river. The river's a 5, and it's a 1-liner.
Oh my God.
And it's an all-in, and it's going to be a call. And I assume that Jonathan can get away from it now.
Oh my God, what a river card.
so-
That is so bad for Randall.
Lil Antonio, by just calling, brings Randall in, and Randall makes the 1 card straight, but Lil Antonio's got the nuts.
Wow, he played it perfect.
And he's going to scoop 20,000. I assume Jonathan's going to get away from it. He does. There's the nuts. I don't know if Randall realizes it yet.
That is so unlucky for Randall, and Randall has really run bad on the show overall. Like, for the amount of action that Randall gives on all the live at Mike shows, he just gets cooler time and time again. I did say that one time earlier today, and he hit a 3-outer. But other than that hand, I mean, this is just unbelievable. Like, how does he...
Okay, first of all, it costs
Little
him a
Antonio
fortune.
doesn't raise, and then
And
Randall
save
makes
him.
the
So
second nuts in the
basically,
river.
instead of
That's
getting
unbelievable.
5K from him, you're getting 5K from him.
Francisco wanna be a hero. Call me with jacks. Ah, Francisco.
Wow.
It looked like a bluff.
Look at the
Like a mistake.
You make good.
I should have bet more.
Plans, please.
Should have bet 24,000.
You make
would've been
good
boss.
move. I call you.
You're supposed to call there. 'cause
Francisco
I have
loves
same
playing
thing
with these
all
guys,
my
too. He told me, like,
mistakes.
off the table. He just...
Well, he told me
No.
a couple times before the show, I want to bluff Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had a
That's why you
chance
said
yet.
yes, I-